Hello and welcome back to the OPL Week 9, day number 1. We just saw an absolute slugfest between the Bombers and Legacy. Now we're about to see the undefeated LG Direwolves take on Avant Gaming. And I had a Maxi Bond last night.
Does that fuel Avant Gaming?
I have no idea. I just felt like saying it because it was delicious and I was really happy.
Hell yeah.
Have you had a Maxi Bond?
No. You asked me this like 2 weeks ago,
no,
but I haven't had one
like,
in the break. No.
Like, you would have gone away, done your homework.
No.
And put in a hard... Yeah, no, Maxi Bonds are great. Second only to Golden Gay Times. However, in this game, no one will be eating Maxi Bonds at all. But this is for Direwolves to continue the undefeated streak. But I have a question for you.
Yeah, okay.
If they go 10-0, but Chiefs 2-0 order tomorrow and gain top of the ladder, are you really undefeated if you finish second?
Yes. Like,
are you really?
Like, yes, but that's real rough. Because yes, you are undefeated, but it's not like the perfect season, you know.
Yep.
Like you still came second. I mean, like they could obviously win the gauntlet, like go into the grand final and win it all, but like
you weren't minor premier.
Yeah. That's really weird. I feel like that situation is so rare. Like that never happens.
Yeah, well, it can only really happen here or in the LPL because we're the two teams with the point system.
Have we ever had an undefeated season?
No.
Like not at all, right? Because
Chiefs
lost to 4-0.
And then Moya, 4-0 Moya
Yes.
absolutely destroyed them.
That was like a Nidalee game, right?
Yeah.
Like when Nidalee was just out of left field, they played Nidalee and stuff like that. Oh, that was a rough one. Can Direwolves do it, or are they going
to? We've got.
They're going to chuck a Chiefs
because it was the second last game for the Chiefs. Whereas this is the last game.
Okay.
We've gone
They've
to
got
the
past
line.
the hurdle.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
because past the trap game.
Talking about like losing to AV, like AV, now that Legacy got all 3 points, they have to beat Direwolves either a 2-0 or a 2-1 to lock in 4th seed.
All right.
So like they want the win. They really do.
They certainly do. And to see whether they can get it, let's check in with our resident analyst as well as Laura.
Thank you very much, Jake. Just on to our second series of the day. The Direwolves going up against Avant. And the Direwolves need a 2-0 here if they want a chance at first place on the ladder heading into Gauntlet. Ultimately, it will be decided
by me.
By you and the Chiefs tomorrow. But nevertheless, it is still an important match. But Choo-Choos, what I want to touch on is the fact that Avant are currently 0-6 against 2 out of the 3 top teams, being Order and the Chiefs. Do you think we're going to see something different coming out of Avant today so that they can take a game or the series against the Direwolves?
Hopefully, for my sake. I mean, if they win 2-0, then we can possibly get seed 1. But yeah, 0-6 against top 3 teams does not look too good. I mean, the only bright side, like the only good thing you can really take out of Avant out of this entire split is the double victories over Legacy. But then again, like we just heard Claire say that he still feels like the better team if they do meet each other again. But I think if Avant really want to win today, they have to had prepared very well for this matchup because Direwolves are undefeated. They probably the strongest team for the past year and a half now. So I definitely hope that Avant have done their homework.
Let me ask you a question then. If you had to pick one person or one player from the Avant lineup to take this game and carry Avant to victory, who would it be and why?
Okay. I'm going... Okay, can I say 2 people?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to say 3, but I'll say 2. So there's
the
Frey. There's Frey and Parbu. So... Okay, I'll go through Frey first. So Frey is, Frey for me is being consistent, but then again, like he has an off week every now and again. But to me, he's actually quite consistent. He's an unsung hero in AV that a lot of their victories against Legacy or the lower tier teams that they win is just because he just does his job really well. He's really good at neutralizing a lane. Even in their losses against Chiefs, like he does well. He does well in lane. He will scale. He'll neutralize his lane and do his job. He really needs to do that against Triple. Triple has been an outstanding player for Direwolves at the moment. And Parbu, my other spotlight player, I would say. I think I thought of Parbu before, like he joined OPL. He was on Abyss, now he's on AV. That this guy could be the best top laner. He could potentially match the likes of Chippies, Tally, Mimic as well, who's come in. But I think there's a lot of top lane talent, and Parbu has always had, like, he's out of high school. He always has that potential there. Is it really gonna click in these final weeks of OPL and heading into Gauntlet? We'll see today.
I actually find it really interesting that you said Frey, because when we spoke to him on the couch last week for his interview, he wasn't very confident or happy with his play recently, so we'll have to keep an eye out on him today. But hit me with your prediction. Who do you think is going to take this series, and what's the score going to be?
I think it'll be a 2-0. I think Direwolves will probably take out the series, but I think AV can show some promise today, and that will be reassuring heading into Gauntlet.
I think the Dials are also going to continue on their undefeated streak, and that it will be a 2-0. But remember, if you would like to make your own predictions at home, head on over to opltips.com.au and join in on the fun. We have those $25, $50 and $100 Hungry Jacks vouchers available to win, as well as XP boosts and RP prizes. More information on those prizes and the competition can be found over at opltips.com.au. And don't forget that Choo Choo's is answering your questions today. So if there's anything you'd like to ask him, send them over to us on Facebook or Twitter using the hashtag like no other. And if your question is picked, you'll get yourself a mystery skin, which is pretty good.
Free skin.
Hell yeah. Thanks for your
Win-win.
thoughts, Choo Choo's. But to get this second
worries.
series started, let's hand it back over to Jake and Bryce.
Thanks so much. So watching for Pabu as well as Frey, who have to match up against Chippies and Triple.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at free skin win-win.
All right.
That was a banger, but no.
Let's give him a moment to compose himself. Let's go into the lineups. Let's bring up the Direwolves. They'll be starting on the blue side. Chippies is their top laner. Shenfire is their jungler, Triple is their mid laner, King and Cupcake are their AD carry and support. Of course, Sharp is their coach. They're going up against Avant Gaming. Pabu up in the top lane only is their jungler, Frey, the man in the mid lane, Blinky and Jake are the Bash Bros, and then Charlie Wraith is their coach. So talk to me about this. You're okay now?
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm just having a good time. You know,
Yep.
it's my week back. I took a week off. Like I've had a break, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But no, Frey, because I agree with Frey in regards to Frey's performance as opposed to Choo Choo's. I feel like he's been. Like, he plays fine for the most part. He's had, like, a few bad games, like on the Blanc when AV kind of put all their resources into him and things like that.
Yep.
And especially in this matchup where Triple used to be the mid laner for AV, and he was, like, their star player. Now on the Direwolves, and he's laying against him. So Frey really has a task on his hands. I agree with the Choo Choo's that Frey one of the better performing mid laners, and Frey's really going to have to step it up this game. But I feel like overall, he's probably been one of their worst performing members throughout the split. And then Pabu, I feel like he's been one of their better. Last week had a real rough one. He lost like almost every single lane. Was almost a non-factor, but
I would actually say that Pabu is like order-in-chief.
Okay.
In the sense that if he plays a top laner that I would deem not as good as him, he destroys them.
Yep.
As soon as he plays someone that I would think is better than them, he also does not lose gracefully.
Okay.
As we are into champion select, it's going to be Azir, Rise, and Galio. So they obviously think that there's a little bit of key to success for Frey here. It's going to be Avant Gaming taking away Xayah, Kha'Zix, as well as the Cassiopeia. And immediately, Direwolves grab Olaf. And what I will say about this pick is the only team that would flex Olaf is the Direwolves.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I was thinking, I was like wondering when we got to the state in the meta where Olaf would just become like blind pickable, absolutely. Because he came in as the answer to the tanks. You're playing Sejuani, Zac, like he just farms quicker than you, and he can get just things done early game, and then he can snowball incredibly well. But now with a blind pick, especially against a jungler like Oni, I feel like he'd probably be more comfortable playing non-tanks into it. So if you can outplay him, Nidalee, things like that, he's shown that he can be successful. And if you can get ahead of Olaf, he falls off incredibly hard.
Yeah, exactly right. And Nidalee kind of farms as quickly as the Viking in the jungler. Maybe not first clear, but doesn't have a solid 3-camp clear. And then after that, absolutely fine. It's going to be Varus as well as Syndra locked in. Sion and Caitlyn.
Do they take Tom? K-Tom is a good lane. It's very good into Syndra. Syndra blind pick is pretty interesting. Obviously, Cassio, Azir, and Rise have been taken away. But no, only just going to go back for the old favorite. Pick up that Sejuani into what we assume will be an Olaf jungle, but no top lane lock-in yet from the Direwolves.
And I do want to talk about our junglers for a second.
Yep.
Because I feel like Shern was very predictable in what he was going to do, but he was very hard to stop.
Yep.
Now he's a little bit of a wild card. I feel like Only is a guy that you give a roadmap. He's kind of like one of those wind-up toys. You're like, red buff, wolf camp, blue buff, bottom lane gank, you'll get a first blood. And he's like, got it, coach. And then after that, he's kind of like, now what do I do? So I think that we have two very different junglers here. But my concern for Shern is, if Only gets an early game lead and is able to match tempo, Shern at the moment has a tendency to not respect that and make his team fall further behind.
And that's absolutely. We've seen multiple junglers come on the couch after their games in interviews and as analysts for the OPL saying that Shern is in a bit of a slump right now. He's not playing his best League of Legends. For the most part, Direwolves used to rely on him to be like a heavy engage tool. He was their playmaker for a very long time, but nowadays you see Cupcake on the things like Ali. He's been the one really stepping up that Direwolves are relying upon because Shernfire just doesn't seem to fit the bill currently.
Yeah, and funnily enough, you say, should they take Tom Kench? Well, they
ban
ban Tom Kench, they ban Alistar, and they, on the other side, ban Orianna, which is, I was going to say, the best matchup right now for Syndra.
The Draven hover after Jippy's just lost to Draven in the 1v1.
No, he won.
No, he won! Oh,
That's just respect.
it is, okay.
I feel like this has to... Ooh, it's Morg. I was going to say,
okay.
I feel like this has to be Taric, and then they take a Morgana.
Okay.
Stuff's going on everywhere.
Yeah, this
Today
has been a very
is crazy.
This has been a very quick draft, honestly, out of these two teams. First phase, just bang, 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 they slammed through it. But I feel like Jake has only played one Morgana game this season.
Against Order.
And it was in their Super Week, where they won, I think, 2 games total?
Yeah, they went 2
If any?
and 5 or something.
Yeah, and then, no, because on the second day, because the Super Week, of course, for each individual team, like, you have 1 Super Week, but for the league, there's 2. And in their double week, they lost every single game. They got 0-2 twice in a row in quick succession. And the Morgana game was in there, and that was their Kate Jana and Kate Morgana, and they were playing those finesse lanes to not very great effect. They fell behind incredibly early.
And honestly, that was just because Spooks got behind them twice. And it's going to be Braum Gangplank locked in. Chippy's the last person, really, that seems willing to blind Gangplank.
Well, it's into Sion,
No, it's not.
potentially. Sion.
Could be a mid laner.
Oh.
Could be a very good mid laner.
Okay. I asked you earlier today. Why don't we see Sion mid in the OPL? And, oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, Swain, is he going to go top? And it will be Sion mid. Okay, out of all the mid laners, Frey makes sense to be a Sion mid. Unless this is
I
some
thought it was going to be Shock.
Morgana-like randomness. No, okay. Because Jake was holding on to the Sion for slightly too long. They were swapping it around. So this is super interesting. Sion just going to try weather the storm.
I believe
as
they
much
have
as
until
possible.
30 seconds to change.
Into
so
the
this
Syndra.
still could be.
And Swain has kind of risen to be, he's like a melee bullier in the top lane, like against tanks. Not so much the Gangplank, but I guess early game he's very squishy. If you do get a lead, you can kind of snowball over the top of him there, but Swain does very well at kind of like bullying these lanes out. Does not fare very well into long-range matchups, so you see him more top than mid currently.
The thing that I don't like about Swain in this matchup is that he's going to have he's got a slow auto attack. He's going to have a hard time stopping the
Clearing
barrels.
Yep.
And if Shernfire gets a barrel onto Parbu, so Chippy's lands 1 barrel,
Yep.
Shern will do the rest of the damage. He just needs the initial slow to be able to get into the lane. So I feel like Only actually has to defend the top side of the map very hard this game.
Yep.
Which when you're playing against double CC in the bottom lane as a Kate, makes your laning phase real difficult. Like, actually surprisingly difficult.
It has to be perfect. Because the Morgana obviously has the black shield, but if you don't play it perfectly, if you misstep once, and especially Braum is honestly one of the tanks that's good into Morgana, or is better than the others, because his Q can actually break it. Because you max that one first, and you want to be maxing the bind first on Morgana, but you kind of have to put extra points into the shield.
3 is kind of the math.
So Jake, on your screen right now, will have a very tough task to kind of stave the pressure in the bottom lane.
And he's using the Legacy Braum skin again. Just a BMer.
Direwolves are green too.
Oh, yeah.
Direwolves are green too.
Okay.
Maybe he's just transitioning it over, you know, to his new team.
Oh, that actually makes sense, because he was a person that
He was?
initially
Yeah.
bought out. So, okay, maybe it's just a Cupcake Braum skin.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm giving too much respect. I like it. However, we are on to Summoner's Rift. For game number 1, it's going to be Direwolves taking on Avant Gaming. And let's check in with an OPL friend in Sharp.
Thank you very much, guys. I am here alongside Sharp. Now, we haven't seen very much Syndra in the OPL, but we've also got a Sion coming out in the mid lane. What are your thoughts on the Syndra-Sion matchup?
To be honest, we haven't played too much against Sion mid. It's something that we were aware of, and Triple was confident in that he'd be able to manage it. So we'll see how we fare with that. And to be honest, there's not too much I've seen of it, especially from what we've seen. But all I know is that Sion has quite strong laning, and if he rushes that banner, he's going to be able to get a lot of priority mid, so we'll have to see how we can deal with it.
Looking forward to seeing how that one goes. But the Direwolves haven't dropped a series all split. I've got to ask you, as a coach, how does it feel, and what do you think of their performance so far this year?
To be honest, like, we haven't really been too happy because, like, we have had a lot of 2-1s. Like, we dropped games versus Legacy, versus Order, and versus Chiefs. So like we've had a lot of sloppy series. So I mean, I'm proud of the guys, which is like with new roster and stuff like that. But still, a lot of improvement needed if we're going to be able to have a strong international performance like we've been aiming from the start of the split. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Sharp, and best of luck with this series.
Thank you so much.
Another cheeky coach's interview. A strong international performance, he says. Currently sitting behind the Chiefs Esports Club on the ladder.
Not even first.
But I like it. You've got to be confident going into this part of the split. I know that you're very interested to talk about that, Olaf.
Of course, Schönfire. His team shepherded him all the way to mid lane. It looks like he was inting, but no. Just took 2 auto attacks from the turret. The turret's auto attack. They attack.
They attack.
And so he got low in his first clear. So Olaf, already one of the quickest clears in the jungle, especially better than the Sejuani. Very healthy, warded out only. He's going to be able to see him.
He's going to kill him. Goodbye,
He's
only.
dead. Oh, is he? Can he land the second axe?
No.
No.
He's just going to take the high percentage play. That is something we have not seen out of Schönfire
Mm-hmm.
in a long time. Percentage play, I like it.
Makes a lot of sense there. Does force only out of the top side of the jungle. Still has smite, so can heal from a camp, but red buff is already gone. 1 camp ahead. Not to mention his whole bot side is still available.
And
Does he
potentially
actually push
catch him out
forward
here
again?
as well.
The big one's gone, so only gets that one back up, but
Still nice to
Schönfire.
get the little ones. Also would be nice to just burn a flash. First blood in the bottom lane. What the heck? Somehow Jake and Blinky have been able to pick up a kill. Cupcake will return one. King didn't use flash.
yeah, used the heal. Ignite was traded for Cupcake to pick up that trade kill there, but Wave, unfortunately for AV, does favor the Direwolves, will very slowly push in, and Cupcake probably will be able to hold this one, but they did get the first blood. Schönfire on a ward, but looking topside. But we have to see how that one happens. Jake, does he just land the binding? Nice, into the trap there from Blinky. Ignite goes down early, so the heal will be half as effective. Blinky tries to flash over the wall from Cupcake there, but does trade his life. But as we mentioned, first blood going over to the bot lane of AV.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that Blinky grabbed that one as Parbu going to be chased down in this top lane. Gets so much damage, and this is what I was talking about. That might be enough right there for Schön to swing the lane in Chippy's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. They're only on the bottom side doing the Raptors. So Parbu has to base. He's way too low, no mana. Can't hold under that turret. They would be able to dive him, so he's going to have to TP back. And only going to end up on the bot side right now.
Did he have to TP back? I don't think he had to TP back.
Maybe he did.
This is my qualm with a lot of O's top laners. Is that now if he gets repeat ganked, and he would have lost like 3 or 4 creeps, potentially Chippy's even makes it hit turret. So maybe I'm wrong, I didn't see the wave. Actually, this
Schön's
is
looping
around. Going to be looking for him. Does only get over
he
the
block
wall.
it? Oh.
Does not block the charge.
He could have flashed.
Will actually get a buff back here, and now only matches tempo.
Yep, suddenly only is ahead a few camps there. Schönfire, obviously, with that pressure top side, gave only a little bit of time to match. But despite the first blood going down to the bot lane right now, Blinky and Jake are actually down about 10 CS.
Yeah, and I think that was just a wave positioning. You called it. Couldn't get into the turret early enough. You can see right now that Jake had to take a really awkward back timing to match Cupcake.
Yep.
Because he was already able to go get his support item. And potentially we see another teleport where the wave would have pushed back in. It's just something that interests me. I think we see international laners walk back to lane way more than we see O's top laners walk back to lane. Walking back without boots sucks, though. So I
Yeah, it does. It takes a really long time. As we haven't really checked into mid lane, we heard Coach Sharp saying the Sion is a good laner, especially into these Magic dealers, and we'll be able to kind of
Go on Aftershock, though.
have a bit of pressure. We see
Isn't the laning master?
Yeah, we see Comet and Glacial for the most part. Aftershock obviously wants the resolve tree and things like that, but yeah, interesting. Could have gone secondary, but obviously opted in for something else. Maybe he's gone inspiration secondary. I haven't been looking if he has the biscuits, because he might just want that extra sustain. Syndra probably able to bully him around. He is down CS.
Good bind landing here. You can see on the bottom lane, actually Sejuani went over that wall.
Sure,
Meanwhile, in
looking
top
for Parbu.
lane, if that barrel hits, Parbu's in some trouble. The axe will land. Parbu going to have to walk this one out. Can potentially burn the flash. Yes, he does. Doesn't land the never move, so for free, Schön able to get that gank off. Up comes triple. Level 6 is available. Will be spotted on that ward, so we'll just turn around and go home.
And this is the punish that you were talking about. Schönfire, they did get the flash onto Parbu, and now he doesn't have TP because he used it earlier when you were saying he didn't necessarily have to. Cost himself a few CS here, but this is going to be a level lead going over to Chip. He's already level 6 in this matchup.
And you can see that they wanted to punish on the other side of the map. Frey actually was roaming down bottom lane. But the big news story for me was the fact that only did not have mana. So wasn't able to go for the counterplay dive. Potentially would have been able to do it. Level 6 Scion, level 5 only would have been enough, I feel, to tank that turret. However, play not available now, and that's going to be a big CS advantage as well as experience advantage for Chippies up in the top lane.
Not to mention, Sion out of mid is a very good defensive roamer. If your side lanes are being punished and you can just go straight down the river.
Yeah.
But setting up for a dive or things like that, it's not like he can zoom from mid lane all the way to like your enemy turret, right?
How good are you at drifting?
Yeah, he has to go through the terrain, has to bounce off the walls as best as possible. Cupcake going to tank up 2 traps of the wall.
Yeah, but King returns fire very nicely, so Cupcake taking help.
Does it land?
But he
does
have the biscuit as well as a pot, whereas on the other side, refillables out of charges. So Blinky is very low now in this lane. Would love a reset, I'm sure.
Shenfire also tracking towards the bot side of the map right now. Still has Flash and Predator. So if he wants to, can get in onto this lane. The Flash is still not available from Blinky from that level 1.
Blinky's out of this lane. He's going to try and go back for that cannon, but it just has no right to it. They need to get a nice recall in here. They will be able to do so. Wave's pretty neutral, but King will be able to land that one underneath the turret. Jake actually might be ulted here.
Yeah, potentially. King did just hit level 6, but this is so interesting. Because it was the first blood, it was the proactive kill from AV. And ever since that point, it seems like they have lost control of the lane. As soon as the summoners go down and they don't have that extra safety, just the engage potential we were talking about in champs, like so much CC from a Varus, from a Braum, with the Ignite, there is that kill pressure. And as soon as they burnt those summoners, despite picking up a kill, it seems like they've just been losing priority more and more.
They're just on the back foot, 200 gold lead right now for the Direwolves. You can see they caught the wave at turret, and potentially was going to be a nicer shot for them. So they will send Blinky back. Yep, it was a BF sword, so understand exactly why they did that. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Chippy's CSing away like a madman. Now has his Sheen. Hard part of the game over for the GP.
Also sitting on the Ruby and the Null Magic, so has that extra MR. He is up in gold, about 300. Of course, hasn't gone for the Relic Shield, 8.5. Because these stupid top laners and stupid mid laners keep ruining the support items. They lost the Bandit passive. So they're just gone from solo lanes now because they just don't get any value from them.
I don't know if they're stupid. I think they're incredibly intelligent. They're abusing a very broken
item. They're taking my stuff, man, and then I don't get it. They're ruining the day.
And that's what I was talking about. Slow auto attack animation out of Swain. Difficult to stop those keggs.
It's Death Hand just be able to push out that wave as best as possible. But as you mentioned, the pink wards, very aggressive on the top side of the map for Direwolves. That one around Only's red buff who just below him right now. Only's going to try and help Pabu push in because they just don't know where Shenfire is. Obviously, we can see with God Vision he's actually bot side with a reset coming through, but AV have to play it very tentatively.
Well, the problem is that Pabu ideally wants to go AP on this matchup. I've seen some weird and wonderful things, you know, like Glacial Shroud into like the Super Soaker, into Tabbies or
just
something like
hard,
that.
just tons of CDR and armor.
Exactly right. And just, you know, try and live through the game. But ideally, if you're picking a mage like Swain, especially if you're Pabu, you want to be doing damage. So he's probably going to go towards Rod of Ages. But now in this matchup, because Chippies has complete control over the lane, he's just perpetually afraid of being dove. Perpetually afraid of being ganked, especially with that flash still not available. And it means that you can see both of his laners, both his jungle and his mid laner have to hover towards his side of the map, giving Shern that freedom to be able to farm up a storm.
And he's just perpetually been down a summoner. Early game gets ganked, TP's back, gets ganked again, burns the flash, has no TP. There's just something always has been going slightly wrong for Pabu in this matchup. That's why we see the GP kind of getting through the lane phase scot-free.
However,
with that little bit of early help from
Shern on a ward, so Only's priority in the topside jungle will net them a Rift Herald kill, which is a pretty big deal when you have a Scion. You want to be breaking turrets pretty early. However, Shern, as well as Triple, heading bottom lane.
They do know. There is that ward in the tri-bush that will spot them, but AV kind of have an inkling. There's nothing in the river that says they're definitely here so far, but leaving mid lane is the Syndra.
Gangplank ulti was burned somewhere.
Potentially top lane, because he doesn't have a lot of vision. They had that aggressive pink ward in the jungle, but unless they show there could have been that dive being set up by Only and Frey. There's just so much dive potential. The two tanks coming out of mid and jungle,
now they go for a 2v3. Nice shield. Blinky has to get back under the turret. Does he burn his flash to get there? Yes, he does, but he's ignite already. Meanwhile, Jake takes King very low. Pabu coming in. The Olaf coming in as well. That binding will land. Chippy's now in big trouble. However, Pabu is That eye will not land in flashes. Triple ulti will be there. Pabu will not die. Now Sion needs to try and get out. Nice flash from Frey. On the back end, Jake will pick up a kill. That's actually a 2-for-1 in advantage of Avant.
Yeah, very nice bind at the start of that play from Jake. Locks down King, and then he finds himself closer towards AV's base than he'd like to be. But yeah, as you mentioned, 2-for-1 going over. Blinky died very early into that engage. But they do get a nice trade to sort of even out the gold somewhat.
And they're actually going to swap these lanes up. So you can see right now, Sion's going to push an extra wave bottom lane. No, they actually call the Kate as well as a Morgana back into mid lane. So that's a lot of wasted time. Let's take another look.
We see this one again. Very nice shield out of Jake, but obviously Morgana. CC does nothing to the Olaf, so he just eats Blinky alive. The double TPs of AV come out, and that was the bind I was talking about. Very nice. Locks King down for long enough that he can't escape. See, Dio was kind of tracking over Syndra. Very slow. They do eventually get themselves some trade kills, as we see Jake is just auto-attacking the Varus.
Airy OP.
Yep. Auto-attack Morgana. And he gets himself a nice little kill.
A 4v5. Sure, there was a turret there, but they didn't really ever go under the turret, to be honest. They fought it more in the choke, so it's just a legitimate 4v5. Blinky getting tagged up quite heavily, only using this time to come into the bottom lane. They smell something is up because Blinky's now tanking creeps.
He's staunching 1v2. So they assume that only is somewhere around it. Of course, you mentioned the 4v5. He was topside getting that Rift Herald. So they
they go in bottom lane. That's the ultimate use. King tanks another binding and will fall down one more time. Jake now may follow him into the death chamber. The trap corrals Cupcake back in towards the turret. Flash is available. That's going to be a Cupcake. And they pick up a double kill right now. Direwolf's bottom lane is getting destroyed.
And such nice play out of the bottom lane of AV. You have to think that's going to be first brick going over
drop
as
Herald
well.
And go too.
They might. Do they actually pull the trigger on it? They did just get the Herald. They do. So they're trading. They are committing. Frey doesn't have priority in the mid lane, and Churnfire is down here to hold. About half HP on Only and Jake, but they will have the extra member. Cupcake's still dead.
And they didn't do it straight away, so it's going to get one charge off.
Maybe a slap as well. But King's just going to walk up.
They use this tempo. This is actually not a bad play in the end.
Yeah,
because they use the tempo. They know that there is a response play to be made. They go towards the Earthdrake.
Makes a lot of sense, especially in this composition. You have the Sion, you have the Sejuani, things like that. You have so many engaged tools. They want to be able to break this lead that they now have wide open on the map. They want to be hitting 20 minutes, be looking for these team fights, because the later this game goes, you have a hyperscaling Varus, Gangplank, things like that. You have to think at a certain point, potentially AV at max items do start running out of damage.
And if we can check in with the gold, I actually want to see, right now you can see that Blinky is actually up in gold as Pabu and Chippy's going to tango, however, Olaf is here. So the fact that he's 50 CS down, and when you have only 80 CS, that's a lot of CS.
That's most of your CS.
But he's still, equal / will be slightly ahead when he gets CS, is pretty darn interesting.
That's so weird. They've killed them twice, but it's still 50 CS down in the matchup right now. It's a game of inches between these two teams. AV currently have the gold lead at about 1 to 2,000, somewhere in the middle there. Pabu really hasn't done a whole lot on this lane so far. First time we've seen it, but has been the recipient of multiple ganks and just been kind of doing this.
Yeah, what
just
I would
farming
say
under his turret.
Is he got a lot of attention, and potentially another champion, like if that's a Gnar, you maybe die.
Yep.
So
and you die again, and again, and again.
Has weathered the storm well, maybe? Am I stretching again?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay, good.
You got my approval.
Thank goodness. I finally know how Atlas felt when I used to disagree with him. And he would just be like, oh, all right, sorry.
The caveat is that it's against a Gangplank. So Gangplank's really not the champion that's going to be a Camille, and once she gets a lead, she's going to set up the dive. Hey, Churnfire, let's dive, let's dive, let's dive. So it does mean the Gangplank gets through his weaker stage of the game scot-free. So Pabu in gold and kind of across the board is kind of equal, but because it's a Gangplank, that means he's behind the clock.
Yeah, and because Chippies can now do this. It just means that he's got level 11 ultimate with a big cannonball in the middle and will look to do a lot of damage. However, Teleport Ward is available behind him. He actually will get turret gold here as well, which is huge.
Is he going to go over the wall and actually look for a play? He does hit the blasting plant, but no.
No way they can make it in time. If he shows, there's just so many players on the top side of the map. Checking in with Sion, 30 CS behind, has definitely not done what we've seen players like BDD do over in the LCK.
And if you hit him with the Galio test, you kind of judge the success of the pick and the ability to influence the side lane. Sion has really not done a whole lot. He TP'd bot side with that play from the Direwolves. They got themselves a trade kill. But for the most part, the Sion hasn't generated any sort of lead into the Syndra. Interestingly, we've actually got the Spellbook on Syndra. So he goes to the cleanse for the early game, doesn't want to get ganked by the Sejuani. And then we'll have access to things like the Ghost and stuff later game.
I actually think it's even though the Summoner Spell cooldown got reduced, against Sion, you're not going to kill him in lane anyway.
You don't need Ignite.
So you don't need Ignite. You don't need Comet. And you're going to need Flash a lot this game, I feel.
Also just cleanse in terms of it means you don't have to hold on to things. You have like the Morgana bind.
Yeah.
You have Sejuani throwing Glacial Prism. You have Swain even never move things like that.
Yep.
Nowadays he can not only stun you, but he can rip you back in.
And that's what I actually was watching. Who was it? RNG? Play last night? I think it was RNG. They played Swain top lane, Ryze mid lane. And it looked really OP because Ryze would just run up to a tank, bind him, and then the tank would just fly into the team a little bit. And I was like, this is really obnoxious.
Yeah.
And the layering of CC was just really good. Potentially they can do a similar thing, you know, with the ultimate from the Scion, rip them back in. Maybe a Sejuani Glacial Prism or something like that.
Makes
Layer
trapping
that CC
easier as
nicely.
well.
Yep.
Especially if you can CC someone and you can trap underneath them, you can also trap in front of them and you can be ripping them back into two potentially. Things like that. There's a lot of room to figure out this champion because Swain, the rework, is very new. Only a couple of weeks old. He has
And not only that,
received
he was
a few
unplayable for like the first 2
Yep.
weeks of his rework. He
Yep.
sucked.
He was.
So this is like the first playable iteration that we've seen.
Yeah, he did receive a few buffs. His Q cooldown, I think, went down by 2 seconds at level 1 and then like down by 1.5, 1.5 as you kind of scale that one up. So his laning got a bit better, and that's where he was really struggling because if you just can't lane, then he just doesn't have a place in the meta. So we have seen him now kind of make a little bit of a surge to the top lane. Pabu got to be the first OPL player to pick him up.
The big thing for me was his ult now just hits everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't get blocked by champions.
Yeah. Well, even like things like minions, there's actually a nice bind over the wall. Will actually burn Shern's ultimate. Very good CC coming out of Blinky and Jake. They said that they wanted to improve as a duo. Now, however, Blinky being chased out of the lane. And Chippy's actually just getting 1v1. Pabu will flash forward.
Misses.
Just misses. Never move, will not reach. If only he had a longer purple hand. And unfortunately, the 1v1 is not there. And now all of a sudden, Triple is moving down, looking for that roam. We'll throw a ball at him. However, we'll be able to dodge out of that nice stun. He's just dead. Goodbye.
Yep. We'll be able to trade the kill there. Actually, not trade because Chippies didn't go down, but Schönfire has no ulti. He does the bind land, doesn't. Predator was proc to get himself
However,
out
they
of that.
pick an ulti and get his flash as well.
Fairly greedy out of Schön.
Once again, Shern is a player that I feel in the last couple of weeks has graded very hard on certain picks.
And he's down 30 CS so far.
Yeah,
in this matchup, he should be out farming the Sejuani. He should be ahead of the clock here, but only just been able to keep up, if not better. Got himself a 30 CS lead. We're approaching 19 minutes into the game, closer to 20. So Baron spawning in about a minute. The Earth Drake, of course, on the side of AV. They don't have the quickest Baron because they don't really have a damage mid laner. It's just the Caitlyn. It's going to do too much there.
Yeah, I don't know how Scion does in terms of Baron damage, as I feel like this isn't going to work, guys. You don't have a Sejuani ultimate. However, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can just like bind him through a wave or something. No, they give up on it.
No, do go through with the recalls right now, but Blinky still has about that 60 CS deficit. 50 from 60, so they've stemmed the bleeding for the most part. And he probably is just about even in gold for the most part. But
the thing about Varus is he arguably does as much damage to the tank with the on-hit build.
Yep.
And then he has utility. So you play Caitlyn to get a gold lead. If you don't have a gold lead, you may as well be playing, I don't know, any other. No, I'm thinking of a champion with CC. You may as well be playing Ashe.
Yep.
In the current matchup.
I love Ashe.
Will she
miss
come
Ashe.
back? Caitlyn's being blind picked a lot.
Yeah.
And
Whoa.
Whoa. Ashe
was one of the answers.
destroys Kate.
Potentially. I feel like Prey played it recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Def played it as
He had a really successful
There's
game.
been 2 games in the LCK.
It will just be the Air Drake.
And then do we get Sivir back?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Comes full circle. That's
I'm
how the meta
a big
works.
Sivir fan.
It's all cyclical. I'm not, actually. I like
Really?
Ashe. I don't like Sid. You know why I like Ashe? Because I like buying Crucible. And Crucible's a fun
Oh,
item.
you
And
get
Ashe,
to show your skill.
Yeah.
Actually, that is an item where you get to show that
And-
you're a better support than me.
yeah, and Ashe is like one of those champions where you're like, okay, they're going to have CC from jungle. They're probably going to have it from top lane, but like that's not enough to build a Crucible. Whereas like when the AD carry has like this big CC button that she relies on.
Yeah, it's like
Makes
a
sense.
3-second stun as Shern has to navigate a lot of traps. Does so successfully. Turns
Does he get
around,
the
looks
smite?
for it. No, does not have smite available. Didn't get an axe. However, top lane turret is under fire.
Yeah, that's the thing. They do get themselves a red buff, but they do lose the turret, so it's going to be over 2-1. And Direwolves slowly, ever so slowly extending their little gold lead right now.
And this is so strange. Because I thought with a Scion, you'd just be looking to shove mid lane and go somewhere else.
Yep.
Especially with TP Scion. But AV have done the opposite. They're waiting for Direwolves to make a mistake. They're trying to Direwolves the Direwolves.
And I mean, potentially just comes down to the early execution. AV's bot lane, they get a kill, but then suddenly they don't have priority in the matchup, and he feels like he can't really go bot. Pabu got ganked early, blew his summoners, and so suddenly if both side lanes don't really have any pressure, Frey's like, look, well, I don't know. Where do I go, guys? Like, what options does he really have?
Well, Pabu has had pressure. He forced Chippies to flash under turret.
That's true.
And then Triple came and killed him. If Frey is the one rotating in that situation... Oh, actually, Chippy's going to hit the outplay button on Jake, and goodbye.
Very nice there. The ulti just does so much damage. It eats through the Black Shield.
A skillful champion.
I mean, he played it well. If he went Q into E, then he wouldn't have got that kill. Is this the first ulti of the game?
Yeah, potentially. And he's going to
Zooming down mid.
Back to lane.
Doesn't hit the wave, though, so it won't immediately explode that one. But pings going down onto the Baron, actually, for Direwolves. A lot of pings, not much vision for AV.
Yeah,
They've invested a lot of pings.
Still. No Sion ulti is a big deal, but Sion just kind of clogs that hole. And at this stage of the game, you're not killing him. Not when you've gone QSS second item on King. He's just too damn tanky.
But it just feels like, for what Sion has done this game for AV, you had something like a,
you could be
like a Rise and a Zir. Just like something that scales a little bit better, something that does damage. If you're just going to sit under your turret.
I mean, to be fair, Swain does damage. Caitlyn does a lot of damage. They are running just a double tank comp. Instead of their tank being top lane, their tank is just mid lane. As we see, actually a stun land. Triple also gets his Banshee's Veil pop. Will take a little bit of damage there. But you can see
big
King
barrel.
Very nicely done there. Big Gangplank ulti as well down on the opposite end. And now this mid lane turret will just fall down. And Direwolves, they're just so clinical.
Can they get two?
I mean, potentially. Ultimate is available from Frey, but Blinky hasn't gone back.
Sion ulti does come back off cooldown, and they have Sedges as well. So Pabu leaving the bot lane. Means he will be rocking up fairly soon. So Direwolves don't commit onto a second one, but ever so slowly this gold lead is getting bigger and bigger. From 2 turrets to 3 now. They break open the outer ring. Kind of opening up the map for themselves. They do have decent pick potential. They get a Syndra, as you mentioned.
Yep.
As we saw, even against the Morgana, the Black Shield doesn't mean a whole lot when she's just going to whack you in the face with a bunch of damage.
And this is such a strange game. Because the team with the double tank comp... Oh, actually, they just saw King go back. So potentially could rush Baron. Nope, not going to be interested in it. I was going to say, the team that has the 2 tanks and can start team fights so easily is a team not looking for team fights. And Direwolves are kind of like, we will just scale if we have to. As Shern, once again, burns his ultimate. Will look to smite away this buff, you have to assume. However, you can see only picks that one up.
But a lot of pings going down into the mid lane right now. Chippies is uncontested in the bottom lane, so Direwolves might just throw the gauntlet here and run it straight up mid. AV are going to have to take the long way back to their turret. Can Sion actually get through the gap? It looks like he can.
And the wave just isn't crashing yet, so they will be there in time. More importantly is this lane. You can see Chippies right now goes Sterix. He's going to go straight away into a Mortal Reminder to cut Swain's healing. Already has himself a CS lead, has himself that turret, as well as the fact that he's just a gangplank and he gets more bang for his buck than any champion in the game.
He does.
Except for maybe TF. No, even more than TF.
Absolutely. And something we haven't actually mentioned in a while. Conversation we had a couple of weeks ago was about champions, specifically junglers that can check bushes. Now that patch 8.4 removed wards from the jungle role. But now you have supports like Morgana that just go Spooky Ghost. This uncommittal vision or non-committal vision where you can just cast it and you can just see where people are if you have an inkling.
It even shows you general direction.
It does. You can float bot side of mid and cast it, and you're like, hey, wow, one of them went bot side where the top laner is, but the other one went top, so the jungler has to be top side because he's not down here, he's not close.
Like, so I've used it before, and it's like flown backwards, and I've been like, well, I shouldn't be here anymore.
I guess I'm dead. Maybe I should have cast this one 30 seconds ago.
But yeah, it's just one of the, I think it's a fun item. I love Spooky Ghost as a concept.
It's also, on the surface, it's a very easy item. You like press it and you get a bit of vision. But there's a lot of things you can glean from the lack of information it gives you. Like, as you mentioned, kind of the direction that it shows. There's a lot of, I think, skill in terms of like knowing how the item actually functions. And it's kind of cool because you just don't see it very often.
As we see, Blinky now has himself a crit item, so he's doing a little bit more damage on this Caitlyn. Still needs to catch up about 68 CS.
Yep.
You can see Wit's End picked up, so the cheap build coming out of King. Certainly agree with this one. He's got a couple of tanks he needs to deal with, as well as giving Syndra a little bit more access to Shred in the kit. Going to be nice.
We do see the Banner of Command picked up 3rd item. Not second,
Ooh,
but
TP
this might just be the
into-
Direwolves
yeah,
Baron.
This is going to be a very decisive Baron. And
Sedge is
thwarted
in
in the back of
base.
the pit. Sedge is in base. That will be a teleport in. And they can just peel off if they want to. However, Pabu is in there. Blinky already dies, but he's doing so much damage. Now we'll have to flash away. For some reason, Shern feels like he needs to pop the ultimate and run forward. And that Baron now will be pulled off of. Pabu deters it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a... Oh.
Stun, barely. Just gets eaten by the Black Shield there, but
You can
honestly,
tell
that
we
was...
play squishy champions because as soon as the stun nearly comes out, both of us are like sweating bullets.
Is he dead? No. But that was the Direwolves Baron. 5-man, just pull the trigger. They must have known that only based. I'm not sure where he was recalling, but he must have done it on a little bit of vision. And Direwolves just pull the trigger immediately, which is why it's so surprising they peel off. Sure, they get the kill into Blinky, but wasting the time killing the AD carry of AV and chasing towards the right means that's not 5 members hitting the Baron, so...
Once again, I think they're just scared of if Pabu gets in the pit with Flash and his ultimate on, and then Frey is there, they're 2 characters that are champions, that just don't die.
Yep.
They're kind of just annoying blobs at this stage of the game. They certainly don't do as much damage as now
Oh,
Jake is
Jake.
just caught between a rock-a-hard place and every one of the Direwolves will fall down.
That was it. That was the moment where he popped his spooky ghost. He's like, guys, they're everywhere. Oh, no.
I need more ghosts. Blinky is in
Unfortunately,
mid lane.
he goes down. So can they stop another Baron?
If they catch out Frey here, they can go for it. Chippy's
Chippy's
no
is walking
teleport
over.
available. Will walk over, as you mentioned. Shern is very low. They know this is happening. However, Pabu, no TP, cannot get there. So if anything, this will be a steal. Ward destroyed. 4,000 health. Only do you have a pink ward. It does not look like you do. Throws an ultimate in there just to check. 2,000 health. Does he go over?
Stun misses. That's
1,000
big.
health. Chippies gets very low. Go over the wall. Does not get it. Will have to flash back out. And you can see they do so much damage.
Is he dead?
And All King nearly falls down. Has to burn the heal.
Oh, Direwolves, they play that nice up until the stun. As soon as that stun misses, because that's what's keeping Sejuani out of the pit. That was a genuine 50-50. That was honestly very close. Level lead is on the side of Schönfire. So his smite does a little bit more, but...
Kind of wonder why they just didn't get in there. Like, they were very low. If that's more than a jungler flashing over the wall and Baron's at 3,000 health, maybe you have a shot at winning that team fight. As now Shern goes in, Blinky going to be chunked out, has to flash
Nice
over the
Black
wall.
Shield.
Shern, however, goes low as well, and that is a Scion ulti in the wrong direction if you're an Avant Gaming fan.
Yeah, but Triple did have to burn the flash for that one. They were looking to get onto Blinky, but the stun didn't land because of the shield. He does burn both his summoners, but an opportunity. Unable to connect here, and this is it. Direwolves get it to about 2,000, and they're just holding. And the carries from AV, of course, aren't really here just yet. You see Blinky does arrive, and this is what you mentioned. They are very low. The stun misses onto the Sejuani. That's incredibly close. And at a certain point, maybe I just agree. Like, Scion, if he flashes over the wall, he does a little bit of damage. It means Blinky can potentially start autoing people, right?
Yep.
And then Sejuani goes in. If she can lock anyone down, even zombie passive on Scion.
Because the only
starts
reason
doing
Blinky's
work.
not hitting people there is vision.
Yep.
Kate can hit over the wall. Kate doesn't have to go in. You just need your Sejuani and your Scion to go in. Both of them had ultis, which are, you know, big AoE crowd controls in that scenario. Baron is your 4th member at that point.
It's
Baron's just whacking people, like, real upset that everyone's in its home. Like, he's like,
Get out of my pit.
I don't do anything to you people. Why do you continually come here week after week and take me out?
Baron's a big Legacy fan.
Yeah.
They just won 2-0 though, so that was
They just
that was
want to hang
probably
out with
unfair.
Baron.
That was probably unfair. But AV going to try and desperately hold on right now.
Upcake
inner
actually
turrets.
gets hit by a bind again. However, Shern will run in and face check for his team. See, Blinky is very scared of going anywhere near him at the moment. You can see Frey just trying to pop that Banshees, however, will take so much of his health in response. And that cannon creep now is just like
Sit
over the
on the
wall.
side.
Like,
He's got a defensible position. He's got the terrain. Luckily for AV, it's not the Baron minion. But, of course, Direwolves with the gangplank at the side lane, they don't really particularly want to group. So instead of just 5-manning a turret and trying to take that one down, they're like slowly pushing.
I was going to say, does that walk
each of
mid
them.
lane? Imagine if you're triple and you could just walk it far enough and chuck it into your 80 carries lane. Like, hey, you deal with this thing.
He's still got it. He's still got it. He stops it from drawing the aggro of his way. That's very well played. That's not something we talked about too much. 8.4, you saw Dematerializer emerge as the big one.
Yep.
But Syndra, of course, can just pick up the banner minions.
Oh, that's over the wall, King. Will get nailed by the bind. Have to QSS, but so much of his health gone.
Potentially just wanted to hold on to that one because he QSS'd very late. He sat there in the CC, was kind of thinking, does he need to expend the resource? But he did in the end. It gets very low. Going to try heal back up. He does have the lifesteal of the Bilgewater, so not the end of the world.
And this is the stage of the game that every top laner hates. When you're against Gangplank, you're like, hey, I'm winning. And then you're kind of like, hey, we're going even, but I can hold him off my turret. Then it gets to a certain point, and you're like, hey, guys, help. he's destroying me now.
It's too much.
I can't go anywhere near him. As stun lands. Actually, though, he steps onto a trap and takes half of his health in damage. And I still don't know if they win team fights right now.
The door just...
When does the Sion... Oh, actually, no, he's winning.
Does he actually commit the flash
Maybe
this time?
this is going to be the counter that I've dreamt of.
Oh.
Drags him back.
Oh.
Gets a flash out. He's just a little bit too late. But Chippy's now is going to have an angry choo-choo train. No, maybe not even. And Pabu picks up a solo kill. We've finally found the Gangplank counter.
And this might be it. You were just saying help. But Pabu decides he doesn't need it. Almost would have just taken him down, but the flash out of Chippy's just perfectly timed to get himself out of the damage. But in the end, that will be the Gangplank going down. So now, sitting on 3 items, he has himself the Zhonya's, the Liandry's, fully stacked Rod. He has legitimate kill potential onto Chippy's, even with the Mortal Reminder, because he applied that one. He doesn't even care about the healing. He's tanky enough to survive the damage coming out of Gangplank if he can commit to him from full HP.
Absolutely, and there is a little bit of magic resistance built up, but not all that much. And Swain in the backline, as this game begins to progress, will just begin to do more and more damage and become more and more difficult for the Direwolf team to deal with. This Baron netted themselves about an 8,000 gold lead, but it's just a little bit strange that it still does not look like they win the 5v5 team fight.
This is it. We talk about Direwolves being the clinical team, but really struggling to sort of make this gold lead count in this game. AV setting up a little bit around the Mountain Drake. You have to think, if Direwolves had that Mountain Drake, if they'd got that one earlier in the game, then potentially their Baron play just worked.
Yep.
That one got very low, like the first one, and they would have just blown the game wide open. Of course, they did just have the most recent one, and they took down the inner turrets except mid lane, so they do have the advantage. Gold lead still heavily in their favor, but
the thing I always like to talk about, Bryce, is the fact that the one thing in League of Legends that is not purchasable is CC. So at a certain point, Olaf is worse than Sejuani.
Yep.
At a certain point, the non-committal portion of Jake's kit is just better than what Cupcake is able to do. And you can see that they do not want a 5v5. Direwolves right now are trading objectives when they are so far in the gold lead.
But they don't even have a wave to go mid right now. They're going to look for an engage. Chippy's actually showing in the turret vision.
Jake is recalling.
He's trying to bait them. They ward over the wall though. They ward around the corner, and Chippy's was the only one showing in the turret vision. Trying to bait AV to think it's safe, potentially look for a pick onto the Gangplank, and then they get a
on
fight.
The flank, so if they go here, they
He
can get
flash.
something. In goes the choo-choo train, and that is so much damage. Pabu on the back line now can just pop this on his hourglass, and the fight has really begun. Pabu blows up, but no one's able to take him down. Chippy's falls on the back line, and now it is up to Frey and Blinky. It is a 1-for-1 trade, but Triple keeps them at bay.
That was so underwhelming. I thought King was dead. He had both summoners still available, but got tagged by the train of CC, so he had to burn his QS as he flashes away, and Pabu gets in there, but just did not do enough damage to take him down. So it is just the 1-for-1 trade. Both top laners do fall, but it will be the second Mountain Drake picked up by AV. And as this game progresses,
let's take another look at it.
As we do, the ulti from only lands, so King just gets CC'd again. Unfortunately, wasn't tied up by that one. The Zhonya's each most of the Sejuani ulti, but it just doesn't do enough damage. Pabu, just legitimately wasn't able to one-shot King, and that means he just straight up lives.
Absolutely. But what I will say is right now, this is an 8,000 gold lead, and the team fight didn't look bad.
Yeah.
Eventually, this will be an even game, because it doesn't look like it's going to be closed out anytime soon. And if that is a Void Star, plus another item. Actually, they just go for it straight away. As you mentioned, no summoners, but Cupcake is the hero. He stands in front of his president, and now Frey will have to flash the wall. Chippy's teleports in. They still have Only's ultimate just about to come back off cooldown.
And that's TP gone. And Direwolves only have one. AV have two. If they can somehow set themselves up a 1-3-1, if they can get pressure in the side lane, Pabu's kind of taking the blue buff, actually. Sion doesn't need it, so they give it to the Swain. And if he can get some side lane pressure, then this does become incredibly relevant. They have the two Mountain Drakes. As I was saying, if they can get access to the Baron buff, they don't have the quickest Baron comp, but because they do that extra damage, it will just die immediately.
My favorite game in Oceanic history, I talk about all the time, was Legacy versus, I think it was Team Immunity. T-Gun was playing Blitzcrank. ACL Sydney.
Oh,
Do you remember this game?
I didn't watch it. I think I was honestly playing on the other stage.
So, T-Gun runs down mid lane as Blitzcrank. Gets chunked out, hits recall, goes back to base. Runs down mid lane, gets chunked out, goes back to base. Third time he does it, hooks the AD carry. They kill the AD carry, he dies. The point I bring it up is Frey right now, for the next couple of minutes, can just ult at King.
Yep.
And they're not going to kill Frey. He's a super tank.
He is.
But eventually, he might kill King. In which case, this game becomes really hard for Direwolves to win.
It does. All he has is that flash. He has the QSS, of course, as well, but Varus, no mobility, no move speed. Without that summoner, it's just kind of a sitting duck, as you mentioned. Cupcake was the hero last time, but if he's not around to block the giant train coming flying in his direction, then he might just be dead.
And you can see that right now, AV, they've just taken the foot off the pedal. They're pumping the brakes. They're saying, guys, just get the items. We've got ourselves the best tank jungler late game in the game. We've got ourselves a Scion who is unkillable.
Here we go.
And Direwolves are saying we have to make something work right now. Teleport is coming in. It is to a good location. However, this Baron will die.
That's a flank.
So it will be for the fight. No, they peel off it already. And Shern is so low. Has to get out. Cupcake tanking damage. Will get ulted and will have to cleanse that. And you can see right now that AV jockey for position and win. Chippy's walking back through that choke point. They will not throw the bind at him, but AV has actually started the Baron without Sejuani ultimate, without the ultimate from Only. I do not know if this is the right call. Direwolves looking for the re-engage. That cannon barrage is doing work. Jake goes very low and Cupcake is marching forward. Baron will reset one more time. And I feel like that should just be the successful disengage.
The waves are good for Direwolves. Both side lanes will eventually push in, so if they just float around for longer, they will have that advantage. The AV did get forced off the Baron in the first
Ulti is back up and available.
Mm-hmm.
They can look for it again if they would like. However, they don't. Everyone just remain calm.
They all in the end back away, but with the recalls coming through, actually, 3 members, no, Blinky does cancel, so only 2 are back in base. Direwolves looking to contest around the Baron once again. Just going to clear out some of that vision. The traps were so good from Blinky. Just blocked off the entire left choke point from the blue buff. Meant Direwolves had to walk all the way around. They got the Baron low, but...
And the fact that they played it slowly enough that they were able to regroup was really crucial there, because it wasn't like Shern could just run at one tank and the rest of the team can follow him and they can attack one side of the pincer. They were able to come back together. And one more time, I just don't know how you run through Frey only in Parbu.
You don't.
So that's
a lot of
Syndra.
CC.
The
That's
reason
damage.
Syndra sucks at the moment is because she doesn't deal with tanks well. So she's looking for
She's
the
got
perfect
3.
orb to like go through 3 tanks and land onto Blinky.
She honestly has one target.
Yeah, Blinky.
Because Jake still has the Mastery or the Rune. He has the stopwatch. So he's got that Zhonya's. So for a one-time use, if he gets ultied, he can just hit the button and he'll be completely fine.
Like, if you don't kill Blinky and you kill Jake, do you really win the war of attrition?
Yeah, not really.
Maybe if like it is a pick and not a team fight.
If it's a pick, it's big.
Yeah.
But you're wasting the vital cooldown.
Ooh, Blinky, however, is being collapsed on. He
Oh,
needs
he's
to
stuck.
run.
He has flash.
Will be able to get over there with a 90 caliber net instead. And you can see Triple is looking for that flank that we're talking about. But we mentioned this. The second teleport, Frey just chilling in the bottom lane, is becoming a massive factor.
And his Banner of Command is almost off cooldown. I feel like he stays down here long enough. He deals with the wave with enough time to place that one on the next wave that comes through, and then they look for something topside. Because this is the hardest part of the game for the most part for Direwolves, where they had that TP disadvantage. It was 2 TPs to none, and they've been able to stop AV from taking down the Baron.
Do you trade?
The Elder.
Are you willing to throw the gauntlet? They can do the Elder Dragon so quickly if Blinky hits it instead of the Scuttle Crab, and he will start doing that now.
They're too late.
7,000 health. They will not get here in time, and AV know it. They smite it away, and in goes Schernfire. He has just jived into the pit and will fall down. He is not as tanky as Frey is, and you can see they don't do enough damage. They rip back Cupcake. The bind just misses. Blinky flashed forward and nearly died. Cupcake falls down, and this should be Baron and Elder Drake for Avant Gaming.
That's 2 picks over to AV. No jungler means probably no contest. Chippies walks body STP, but he's just going to clear out the wave. Both buffs going over to AV. No one would have picked AV to be picking up this win right here, but looking in a good position. Still 5,000 gold down.
I disagree. Order and Chief fans everywhere were hoping that they could do exactly this. They pick up both buffs, and 41 minutes in, even though they have a 4,000 gold lead, it does not matter.
And that's a straight-up gargoyle picked up by Sion, but we're going to see this one again. A lot of value out of the slow from Swain means that Schoenfire has to burn the Ragnarok
Sion does
to get into the pit. But Sion, 1v4, takes half his HP. He didn't even really get low. This was real sketch out of Blinky. Very close to going down. If that stun lands, he honestly dies to Chippies. The burn out of Leandries from Frey. Actually, the burn from Elder from Blinky actually took down the kill onto Brawl, so Cupcake falls.
Bristle, mate, you got to stop eating Poro snacks.
Yeah.
You are absolutely a massive.
Look at... Oh, okay, you said Poro. I was going to say, like, he is a Poro, but okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But if you were to have a comp that was to have an Elder buff, a Baron buff, and wanted to just dive the base, you want to have a Sion mid.
See, this is another time where I'm like, Pabu, why the heck are you top lane? Frey, stop going bottom lane. And start the train up and just hit the mid lane turret.
We have to know. We watched that replay, Jake. Yeah. And Sion got to about half, maybe a third. He just went back, sold a pink ward, and got a gargoyle. He has double the HP when he wants it now. He's gone from 5k to 10k. He's going to be absolutely unkillable.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, just straight up.
I hate the champion, but he's kind of amusing to watch. And they're now going to ride a big creep wave in. Bannon, not going to be there. That's a big stun landing. Kegs will help clear out these creep waves.
That's a shield.
However, they can just go fishing right now.
I feel like they have to pull the trigger on this wave. The Baron is about half, but Elder will wear off after this wave.
Do they just charge in? Pabu gets chunked out, doesn't get anything.
Bind, not landing.
They're looking for bind so they can rip someone back with the CC. However, it is not working.
Cupcake blocks the damage with the
They
shield
actually
there.
burn a teleport into the bottom lane. No, they cancelled it. They just teleported and cancelled.
They're going to commit.
No, it wasn't a teleport. I just lied. It must have been a ping or something.
Okay.
So they will see GP now. Just start up the choo-choo train. Go, Frey, go.
Do they pull the trigger? Nice stun, but that does mean it's on cooldown.
Here we go. Olaf will have to pop the ultimate, but the base is broken. Now they're going to continue the fight. They rip back Cupcake. He gets the ultimate off, but it is not enough. Big Gangplank ultimate on the back line, and now potentially Blinky will fall down. So much damage. The inhibitor is gone, but King on the back line is falling so low. They blow up the Swain. Triple will use the ultimate onto Jake, who still has that, and the CC lands. However, King is just kiting them out. Chippies takes big damage on the back end, and he's looking for it, but Blinky just fishing for a crit. Will not find it, and now they must disengage.
They do break the base. Chippies does a very nice job of shepherding Blinky out of the fight. Triple got bound up by Jake. He burnt the stopwatch, ate the ultimate. They did get the inhib, but they couldn't take any more kills from the Direwolves. Chippies barely lives. Has to blow his flash there, but that is the base broken by AV. Gold lead, almost negligible now. 2k in the favor of Direwolves, but everybody approaching max items. That's the hardest point for them, breaking the base.
Then? I didn't see it. Like, so potentially the biggest
we'll
tool.
see.
Let's take a look.
We will see. They do finally pull the trigger because the stun was down from Triple. So Ragnarok has to be burned by the Olaf. And this is classic late game Olaf where
right there.
He's just doing nothing. So melee range ulti out of Frey. Very short cooldown, so it did come back up. But I want to see what Chippies does on the side of this fight because they do get the inhib here. And Blinky falls very low to Gangplank. They commit. Pabu gets immediately blown up by Triple. But look at Chippies on the right-hand side of the fight right now. Blinky wants to step up. He channels the ulti, but he can't walk forward. Jake wants his team to step up and do damage, but because the Gangplank is on the right flank, Blinky just can't step up there. He's the only one that does damage at this point. Frey's used his CC. Sedge does nothing, so he's the only member. So they can't commit further. They don't end the game. But Elder, Baron, break the base.
And second Elder Drake is
You know
a
how long
real
that lasts?
possibility.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. That is so long.
And the burn damage is huge.
Yes, it is.
You can see right now that Blinky is critting for 1,000. However, what I will say is that Chippy's build is like well and truly online, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of discounted the fact that there was a Gangplank in the game when I was talking about scaling.
Yeah.
He can maybe one-hit Blinky at this stage of the game.
Maybe. Maybe. Definitely a possibility here, Pabu. Didn't really get to use his ulti in that fight there. Help just popped immediately.
Yep.
Couldn't get the damage off. That could have been a turning point for AV, but...
I feel like he needs a Banshee there. I feel like he needs to sell that needlessly large rod. Actually, they're going to get Chippies, who once again has to burn the ultimate. And you can see Cupcake taking fire. Blinky is just so safe in this composition, and Jake now has himself a Zonya's Hourglass.
Yep. Burnt the stopwatch, but just buys the better version here. Interesting that he doesn't have an Ardent Sensor. He's actually going for a different item in the end.
Yep.
Is that Glory? What is that? I'm not sure.
Oh, Pabu hits the barrel, and that actually will save this creep wave for long enough that they can
They
march
get
in.
Shrinkfire
They
again,
get
no
Shern
ulti.
again, no ulti, and he will
Nice
eventually fall down. No, he just lives on the back end somehow. In goes the Scion train, but it's cancelled. Blinky just trying to get the turret, will be able to do so. They rip back Cupcake, and this game is just on a knife edge with neither team really wanting to commit.
But buffs are spawning in under a minute. Baron in 1.5 on the second Elder. Do AV set up around the Baron, or do they just give it? Do they just say, hey, second Elder is literally like the end of the game. We will do so much damage.
What they're going to do is they're going to flirt with the idea of Baron, and then
just
if
rush
Direwolves ever commit, they just go rush Elder.
And this is where the double Mountain Drakes. We're 47 minutes into the game. Those percentage bonuses just mean so much as the game progresses.
How much gold has Blinky got?
A lot.
Actually, not all that much. I was going to say, sell your damn boots, but he's only got 1,600.
But he's equal with Gangplank. I feel like if you get to a 47-minute game and like Gangplank's gold is being equaled by someone else, that's pretty interesting.
Well, you know the other thing in League of Legends that you generally can't build, and you're going to say, yes, you can, rapid fire cannon, is range.
Wow, I guessed it.
And Blinky is the longest range champion in this game. So technically, does better, as it doesn't work if you're not in the brush only.
They are setting up around the Baron. They're sitting topside. They have so much control around that. Direwolves literally do not have a ward in the top side of the
just
map.
give it. Do they try and rush?
I feel like AV need to be walking over there right now if they're going to burst it down, which they do. Blinky's walking over. They might just two-man it. They might try and hold Direwolves in the middle lane.
I think they want to make Direwolves face check. But you can see they're not on the same page right now. They will not get the Scuttle Crab. Blinky's already hitting it. It's down to 5,000 health, and this should just fall. No, they peel off.
Oh, trap. Nice
in
route
goes
into Cupcake.
Oh, big damage, and they might just continue it now. Cupcake is so much of the defensive tool set. You can see the triple fishing for a stun. Doesn't land it. 2,800 health. They land a bind. Why don't they just finish it? They're not going to, and they just continue to get poked out. They're doing it because there's creeps already in the base.
They're just buying time. If they buy enough time, they have 2 TPs. We've seen AV actually backdoor a game.
Away. And you can see right now that they're just going to hard commit. And Dire will say, okay, we will bloody well rush the Elder Drake.
And they do it
and all of a sudden, they have to try and fight this. Chippies will save the inhibitor. Elder Drake will fall down. Scion Choo-Choo Train coming in.
He's TPing.
Stopping all stations. TP is here.
Is it going to go down?
It's going to go down.
Only can get in. Flash? No. They don't actually commit.
With the ulti as well. Now Baron versus Elder. 1-1, and they just say, no, we're going to discontinue this. We're going to play this slow.
Chippies didn't actually get to hold the inhib because he had to TP to the Elder Drake. And we do have to know, second Elder Drake is your second Elder Drake.
Yep.
So the fact that Direwolves now have the second one, but it's their first, means they only get the initial bonuses. So it's not the be-all and end-all right now, but we might see it. If this game goes for another 10 minutes, that'll be up again.
And I think it will.
And either team, whichever team gets the next Elder Drake, will have such a huge advantage. But right now,
and this is where the
Baron
Direwolves effect comes in. If you remove nameplates, AV take that fight. They do Baron 20 seconds earlier. They then fight, they take Elder, or they win the game.
That was
but against the
4v5. Cupcake was just basically dead.
Against the Direwolves, you think, ooh, Cupcake's going to fly in and he's going to nail us all with an ulti, even though he's on 200 health. And just that slight hesitation means that the Direwolves peg it back to 50-50. They are so good at that.
So, can AV with the Baron, can they break other portions of the base? That inner turret is still open bot side. You have to think if they go down there, Direwolves will probably concede for the most part. But
can they?
I mean, not right now. Direwolves pressuring the mid lane with all 5 members. They're going to give another blue over to Babu.
They've got maybe the best siege comp. Apart from, like, if you run a Nivea, like, obviously it's better. But you got Caitlyn traps, you got Sion's big axe, you got a Sejuani ultimate.
You got Morgana binds.
And then you got Swain to drag him back.
Yep.
So they're just going fishing with CC.
That has to be one of the most underrated parts of his kit. You think of Swain,
I think that's the only good part of his kit.
Yeah. You think like, oh, like when he gets into zone, usually like starts healing anyway, and then he does a big burst of damage at the end. But being able to rip people back has meant, because Schönfire, basically for the past maybe 20 minutes is too generous, 15 or 10, has had to ulti like just the first random CC that hits him, and he doesn't really have it for the fight. And this is just the late game Olaf. He's just really not doing anything compared to the Sejuani.
Do they know Chippies is in the brush?
They're going to check.
Will get a big keg onto the back line, which takes out one of the siege creeps. However, there are 3 of them. And that will actually nearly one-hit Blinky. So all of a sudden, you are in full-blown retreat.
Burns the heal to put some distance between himself and the direwolves right now, but obviously the banner not too effective against the Gangplank.
Oh, let him hit the creep wave. Will get close to full health again. You can see they're just waiting for that top lane wave to push in. That's really what this game has now become.
Eventually it will get to the base. Eventually it will become a threat, but they've got about 30, maybe 1 minute left of time before that actually needs to be dealt with. But the second banner coming out onto this one.
Chippies is just so good at these barrels. He's not even bothering to shoot them half the time. He's just clipping them with the sword, sending them through because they do so much damage. Triple says, that's my cannon creep now.
Yep. King gonna kill that one off, but we see the siege does continue. Chippies has actually gone to the top side to defend that wave, so the super creeps won't be too much of a threat right now. If the engage breaks out in a split second, he can ulti, but it will take him time to walk.
That is
Triple.
wall down.
Wall down and stun, and Triple's half HP.
They go in on Shern one more time. He's at half health. You can see stun lands, but it's onto a tank. They're just prioritizing the turret. Turret goes down. Trapline can now move up, and a black shielded Blinky has so much range. They land the root onto Triple. Now, however, Blinky is in so much danger. Goes down. Chippy splashes on his head, and they can't continue this fight. The explosion pops the GA and kills Schönfire. But now with only the 2 tanks remaining and 60 seconds, what can the Direwolves do?
Direwolves do hold their base. Blinky just dies immediately. Chippy's actually flashed in and clipped him with an auto attack to take him down. He just does so much damage on the Gangplank, and he's so reliable at this point of the game. You mentioned 50 seconds still on 3 members of AV. Sejuani and Sion are the only 2 members up. They're not going to hold anything. If Direwolves can get to the base of AV, you have to think they're going to be able to break it. 1,500 damage on the barrels.
And
he's doing so much damage.
That they're pinging out the side lanes. Chip only is trying to grab the creep wave. Frey is trying to keep Chippies away. They can kick creeps. They can potentially banner another creep soon. But can they actually defend this?
No. It's just going to go down. 20 seconds left. They're trying.
They burn the ultimate onto Chippies. He just uses some oranges in his K.
And this is one of those weird situations, because we're into super late game, where because the cooldowns on Baron and Elder Dragon are just so long, that side lanes don't really mean anything. If this was like maybe 30 minutes into the game and you're like, hey, instead of going to break the base, instead of trying to push up mid, let's get side lane control. Let's set up for the objective. But they're just down for like 10 minutes, so it doesn't even matter. Direwolves go straight up mid. Currently, that's the only inhib gone. AV, they tried to get bot, but they just couldn't. They got the turret down, so the base is open, but not broken for the most part. And top did respawn, so Direwolf's going to have the advantage in terms of minion push.
A minute 30, and Shern is doing Krugs. Obviously, still needs that final item slot filled. You can see that that allows time for Avant Gaming to set up this mid lane pressure, go back towards the Baron again.
Cupcake has a Negatron. Last year, Cupcake was the I don't want a ward guy. And we memed it like on broadcast and analyst desk. Like he was the guy that just didn't want to buy pink wards. And now he's sitting on a Negatron, 55 minutes into the game. And I feel like pink wards, if you're sieging a base, not that relevant. But if you're playing around an objective, super relevant. AV, you see topside around the Baron spawning in 1 minute. They've already got pinks in the pit, so they know it's not water. They got pinks in the jungle, so they know the pathway to get to the Baron for Direwolves is safe for them. So that means you mentioned Schönfire farming golems for his last item, but if he doesn't hold on to the pinks, they just don't have any.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see right now they're trying to gain ground, but without Chippies there, it is just so hard. You can see the CC every single time means that Blinky gets some pop shots. And mid lane at this stage of the game, Blinky just eats the turrets for breakfast. Does not matter.
Last time we saw the 2 buffs spawn, there was 30 seconds in between. Now there's a minute.
Get bigger.
That means if we get the same situation where AV go topside, they take down the Baron, Direwolves can't contest. They don't have 30 seconds to take down the Elder, where AV are kind of tracking over and they just get it before they get there. There's a minute. They can close that gap. It means Direwolves won't be able to answer after the fact. So the engage will just be so important
They
for the
draw
start of this
up
fight.
battle lines mid, they root Cupcake and pulling
Oh,
forward,
that's
they fling an
Sejong.
ultimate, however they do not use Shern, so that is ultimate down for Sejuani, and no ultimate burnt out of Shernfire.
They do lose control of top side of the map right now. Dire was forcing them out 5v5 AV without the Glacial Prism. They don't want to look for an engage. They're constantly fishing with Morgana. If one of those do land, they can rip someone forwards.
And do you want to be second to the objective now?
No, absolutely not.
Well, why are they giving up position like this? That's going to be a keg over the wall, does not hit anyone and only is dashing away. Half the cooldown is up and available right now.
Direwolf's going to walk towards top side. Chippy's actually tracking potentially towards the top lane. That wave is incredibly big. We'll be pushing on to the Nexus. He's going to go match it right now. The sweeper comes
Shern
out.
will get bound.
Binding.
Nothing available.
If they had Sedge ulti there, they can go. They can force Ragnarok. Chippy is showing top side. Binding into Baron. Has that shred. Shernfire potentially could have been an option for a pick there, but...
Ult back up and available now.
is.
And I feel like this might have been enough. I feel like
Go to
right
Elder.
now they can go to Elder, and second Elder buff is more important. However, they don't agree. They go back towards Baron. No, they don't. They go back towards mid lane.
They can't make up their mind. Both teams, we have to reiterate, have had the Elder before. So second Elder, whoever gets it will have that monstrous 5-minute buff.
They can two-man it.
They're looking. Pings are going topside for Direwolves. They want to actually trade the Baron, but this is going to go so quickly. 2 Mountain Drakes.
And it's already at 5,000 health. However, again, they peel away. That's ultimate
Ragnarok.
used onto Shern, and this time
Is
he
this a
Ragnarok.
50-50?
They continue the leash onto Elder. They rip Cupcake forward, but Shern says, if you want it, come get it. This is my Elder Dragon, and
Shern!
he gets it for his team. Now they flash forward. They ulti up. Blinky is out of the fight. Chippies goes in. All of a sudden, Jake, huge ultimate on the backline, but they're just
Blinky!
dropping left, right, and center. Blinky can't do enough. Frey is dead, and over the wall goes everyone. Triple kill for King, and Direwolves will now win this game.
I love the thought process behind Triple. As soon as that Elder Drake goes to Shern, he just flashes on Blinky immediately. Takes him to about 1 HP. He tries to save the day, flashes into the pit, but King, the auto attack just going to take him down. The second Elder goes to Direwolves.
And Shern
He
might
might
fall,
die.
but he will have 100% the last laugh. Frey gets the shutdown, but Direwolves, it took him 58 minutes, but the undefeated streak is well and truly still alive. They take game 1.
Is that the first second Elder we've seen
Yeah.
in the OPL? I feel like it is. I feel like it is, and it could have gone either way. That team fight, the last team fight, literally, whoever won that Elder could have just wiped the floor.
The difference is, AV got to Baron first.
Yep.
They pulled off it even when Cupcake was no health.
Yep.
Direwolves get to Elder Drake second, and Shern says,
Look,
smart it.
that was a confidence play, 100%. Both of them had no ulti. Sejuani threw it at the Olaf, he burned the Ragnarok, and they were both in range for that one. That
Yep.
was literally a fifth. That could have just been a 50-50 to win the game.
and it was. And the Direwolves
Like-
took it and they won. And now Avant have to go back to their gaming room and say, how the heck do we beat this team? We couldn't do it with a very good composition. We couldn't do it with a Baron buff. Couldn't do it with an Elder buff. Couldn't do it with a Baron and an Elder buff at the same time. How do we actually beat the juggernaut that is the Direwolves?
And it wasn't cheese, but it was unconventional play. This is the first Scion mid we've seen. This is the first iteration of Swain top. So they brought out these new things, and it kind of like did get them advantages. They did get to a point where they were in the driver's seat of that game, but as you mentioned, it just wasn't enough. So if that's kind of they just threw the kitchen sink. Like if they got something else back there, because like you know
Where's the bathtub?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like like what have they got left in the tank?
Yeah, exactly right. And the Direwolves, time and time again, we say this team is slumping. They're not looking their usual self. But the one thing I will always go back to is they are the champs until you beat them. And no one has managed to do it yet. And that was a game that 7 other teams in the OPL lose, and the Direwolves win.
That was insane. I just have to reiterate how rough that is for AV, especially because Legacy with the 2-0 this morning as well. They need to be like winning this series for 4th seed.
Yep.
And like they're so close, and then Direwolves just clinch the win. It's like, that's
a rough one.
It's rough. It's rough.
However, to break that game down further, let's throw it over to Choose and Laura.
Thank you very much, guys. The Direwolves able to take game number 1 in this series. And Choo-Choos, I feel tired after that game. I didn't even play it. I
did
just watched it. It was just so long and so back and forth. But you were saying at the beginning of it that you really liked Avant's draft and you
Yeah.
had a bit of an inkling that they were going to win.
Yeah, I think at around 10 minutes, I was like, I think AV are going to win this game because the drafts from Charlie, well, just AV in general, was very smart. Like the Scion Flex, as well as the Swain pick was very smart. I thought that was really nice. And then I think this kind of went under the radar, but the Caitlyn was really untouched that game. You could see at the end, like in the the whole like final 30 minutes or something of the game, the Caitlyn was really the make or break win condition for AV. And I imagine there was a lot of pressure on Blinky that game to perform.
When we spoke to Sharp in the coach interview, he wasn't too sure on how the Syndra Scion matchup goes, but how do you think it's supposed to go?
I think it's a great matchup for Scion. There was a lot of mid bans that game, so they automatically blind picked the Syndra. The Scion nullifies. So Syndra one-shot something, but you can't one-shot a Scion. So Scion's job, and this may be just Frey not having enough games on the Scion mid, but essentially what BDD did, he's the guy who kind of like brought it into the scene in LCK, is he shoves his wave and translate his tankiness to a dive in probably the bot lane or the top lane. But AV, we were just asking ourselves, like, what are AV doing with this composition? Because they kind of just existed and just stayed there. And they drew an early gold lead, but they didn't really do anything with it. They just slowly bled out, let this GP scale. But then again, like you could see that this composition had another angle to it.
Is that the Direwolves effect? Just like being too scared?
Jake mentioned it on the desk, but you could see the very last fight when second Elder Dragon was coming up and Baron was coming up. They were like, "Oh, do we want Baron? Do we want Dragon?" And then they kind of ran to Baron, then ran back, and that's 100% nerves. I think Dials are a team that have been internationally twice, and they probably used this high intensity. And I honestly think that gave them the edge over AV today.
I think we also do need to talk about the fight that turned the game around and cemented it into the Direwolves' favour.
The 50-50 smite.
It is around that Elder Dragon, the second one for the Direwolves. I believe we have a replay of it. Choo-Choos, can you walk us through it?
Yeah, so this is where they just realised, okay, second Elder Dragon seems pretty good. They commit to it. The thing that I don't like here is that I don't know if they made a call of like, are we going to turn? Are we going to commit to finishing it? So they just disperse. They immediately funnel up to their blue because that's safest. You want to run to your base. But I think like this gives up such a huge positional advantage to Direwolves. And you can see Blinky's terrified. Blinky in nearly every single team fight at the end was just terrified of everything. You can see Dials just moving as a unit, secure the Drake. They just look more cohesive as a team, and that's what it came down to. I think AV could have won this game, and I'm not blaming anyone, but I think it was a matter of nerves and a matter and confidence. But I think they should be very proud, and I think we have a good series on our hand.
We definitely do have a good series on our hand, but something you were saying upstairs is you think that you thought that the Dials were able to bounce back from what kind of looked like was going to be an Avant win because of their international experience overseas and how they can deal with that kind of pressure.
Yeah, so Direwolves don't really fall behind. They're kind of known to be just very strong in every lane, but I do think their draft in Olaf was like, okay, we need to make something happen early. That cheeky take 2 tower hits at the start and then steal the red buff and then gank top ended up not being too good because only stole his red buff and that equalized that advantage. But the Swain was obviously focused, like we want to give this GP a good lane. Let's put some attention top to ensure Chippies has a good time. But then I will go back to Frey and say how I said at the beginning of this series that Frey is very good at neutralizing mid laners. I think this sign pick is ban-worthy for Direwolves because Triple could not do anything. The only thing Triple could do was kill the Morgana, and that's just positioning, poor positioning from Jakey. But I think Direwolves were in a shaky position. They were versing a composition they're not used to, and you could see that they were trying to adapt. And that's something that I think they slowly realized, but it's something I think they just want to get rid of going into game 2.
Something else we were also talking about when we were watching the game is that how Triple used to actually play for Avant and how, like, do you think that players swapping between teams affects their mentality when they go up against old teams? Or do you think that
100%.
it's also reversible in the fact that Frey can see Triple on the Direwolves and now has this expectation that he has to perform for his team?
Well, just from personal experience, like when Bryce left Legacy in 2014 and went to Chiefs, and then when King left Legacy, went to Direwolves. Like, it's always in the back of your mind, like, oh, I used to sit next to this guy. Let's beat him. I don't want to lose to this guy. And that would 100% be running through AV's minds and Triple's mind. So Triple would be like, I need to beat this guy who's taken my spot. And they both played very well, but it definitely plays a factor. But I think, like, as the game gets going, 15 minutes or so into the game, that probably just goes over your head, and then you just focus on the game.
We'll have game number 2 coming up very shortly, guys. But some of you have sent in some questions for Choo Choos to answer, and we have a few more for him to answer right now. The first one coming in from Sharik. I'm so sorry if I said it wrong, who says, what are your thoughts on Syndra in the current meta, which is good because we just saw her, and do you think that AP assassins like Fizz and Kassadin can be viable in this meta?
I'll answer the second question. I do think Fizz and Kassadin are viable, just because this meta is very control mages, and assassins like Fizz. You see Kassadin, like Faker's been playing Kassadin to Azir a lot because that's a preference. But I do think these assassins do work, but they're just a wild card. Like if you don't make something happen in the first 20 minutes, you just will fall over. And to answer your question on Syndra, I think Syndra is the tier below, like tier 2 at the moment. So that's why you don't see her picked all the time. But I think she's a nice counter pick. And if a lot of mid bans are thrown, then that's something where like she can pop up like we saw today.
Our second question comes in from Benji, who will not be receiving a mystery scan. Just for context,
What did he say?
has been sending in questions every week, and this is the first time he's made it on the show. He says, hey, Choos, who do you think is the most underrated player not on a top 3 team in the OPL?
The most underrated player, not on a top 3 team. Oh, let's say, I've got a couple.
Rattle them off.
I'll say Sleeping. I think Sleeping is performance quite well. I also think Tiger is also, like those two came as a duo, but I think they both have stepped up. Maybe it took them time to ramp up. But I think those two are definitely like two players to watch out next split.
It's bomber bias going on there. You used to play on the
Bombers?
Bombers?
That is not at all what is going on. My honest answer to you, Benji.
I'm joking. Thank you for sending in your questions. We're going to head to a break. But when we get back, we're going to have game number 2 between the Direwolves and Avant. You don't want to miss it.
He has just jived into the pit and will fall down. He's not as tanky as Frey is, and you can see they don't do enough damage. They rip back Cupcake. The bind just misses. Blinky flash forward and nearly died. Cupcake falls down, and this should be Baron and Elder Drake for Avant Gaming. The inhibitor is gone, but King on the back line is falling so low. They blow up. The Swain. Triple will use the ultimate onto Jake, who still has that, and the CC lands. However, King is just kiting them out. Blinky is in so much danger, goes down. Chippy splashes on his head, and they can't continue this fight. The explosion pops the GA and kills Shernfire. This is my Elder Dragon, and he gets it for his team. Now they flash forward, they ulti up. Blinky is out of the fight. Chippies goes in. All of a sudden, Jake, huge ultimate on the back line, but they're just dropping left, right, and center. Blinky can't do enough. Frey is dead, and over the wall goes everyone. Triple kill for King, and Direwolves will now win this game. It took them 58 minutes, but the undefeated streak is well and truly still alive. They take game 1.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Urgot, the Dreadnought.
You die when I choose.
Urgot's passive is Echoing Flames. Attacking an enemy near one of Urgot's 6 legs will fire out a blast like a shotgun, damaging all enemies in the area. Each leg has its own internal cooldown. Additionally, multiple Echoing Flames to the same target deal reduced damage. In lane, Urgot's passive, combined with his ranged auto attacks, let him weaken his opponent before he goes for the kill. But be careful, the cooldown on each leg is quite long at lower levels, so if your legs are down, you're the one who's weak. Urgot's Q is Corrosive Charge, which explodes at a location, damaging and slowing everything around it. Enemy champions struck are Locked Onto. Locked Onto for what? That's up next. Urgot's W is Purge. When activated, he gains a shield and slow resist, but lowers his base movement speed for several seconds. While the effect holds, he automatically fires at the nearest enemy, or preferentially, the nearest locked onto enemy champion. Like you'd expect, these attacks will trigger your passive at the correct angles, which means you'll want to reposition around your opponent to get all the damagey goodness. Urgot's E is Disdain. Urgot charges, damaging and pushing aside all enemies he tramples. If he runs into an enemy champion, he'll stop, stun them, throw them behind him, and lock onto them. If Urgot runs into a wall with Disdain, he'll stop at the wall, but won't stun or throw it over his head.
Hold on. There's something. That's better.
Getting on the other side of your opponents can be incredibly difficult, so it's hard to shoot all 6 Echoing Flames. Thankfully, Disdain puts your target right behind you if it connects, allowing you to get more bang for your buckshot.
A pathetic display.
Urgot's ultimate is Fear Beyond Death. Urgot fires out and impales the first enemy champion struck, damaging, slowing based on their missing health, and locking onto them for the duration of the tether. While impaled, things get scary for Urgot's foe. If they fall low enough, Urgot may recast Fear Beyond Death to seal their doom. He suppresses his prey and pulls his chains back in. When his target finally reaches him, he brutally executes them. If Urgot successfully grinds an enemy, he terrifies the living who still remain.
Power. Fear. These are my weapons.
Purge churns out a ton of damage, but it's up to you to make sure it hits the right targets. Locking onto the right one is paramount to avoid wasting all of your damage and getting off on the wrong foot. Or knee. Urgot may be beefy, but he is not a tank. His ranges are low, so he'll need good positioning not only to maximize his damage, but also to simply stay alive. Stay on the fringes of a fight, looking for the perfect moment to harvest your first victim with Fear Beyond Death. Try to draw an opponent out and unload your rotation on them. Once they're low, you can go for the execute even if they try to run away. From there, it's cleanup time. Focus the targets who can't escape you, and take them down one at a time. The most important skill to learn with Urgot is choosing the right moment to go all in. Done right, you'll go from Urgot to Urgod. Thanks for tuning in to the Urgot Champion Spotlight. Click these links to learn more about League's newest Star Guardian. I'm kidding, but you will dread not reading up on everything else.
Run if you must.